Hey friends, it's been a little while. My family went to Uganda on a mission trip for 10 days. We got back just over a week ago and have some stories to share. We went with the intentional purpose of helping children with special needs. We're serving a ministry called Promise International. Its leader is our prayer minister at Backyard Church. He's from Uganda. His name is Daniel, and he led the trip to Uganda to visit schools for children with special needs so that we could serve those schools, and then to also go out in the bush to a village where he is building a school for children with special needs right on the banks of the Nile. So we spent an entire day at a school for children with special needs. It's a boarding school. We did a lot of education of the mothers in special needs care. We had specialists come with us in that field. We did an Olympics with them where we played games and we handed out medals. We just said, you are made in the image of God, and we put a medal on every single one of those children, even some of the adults. We handed out some clothing for the children and for the teachers and for the parents. It was a wonderful day, just a day that I will never, ever forget. We made some dear, dear friends at that school. One of the things that we see in those schools is that they really don't understand special needs in Uganda. The culture basically says that if your child is born with special needs, that you must have done something wrong, that you're under a curse, or someone hired a witch doctor to curse you or your child. And so often the dads will leave, desert their families because he thinks, there's more going on here. I'm not being told the truth. My wife has done some things that she's not telling me about. And so part of our mission and goal with this trip and future trips is to educate on special needs so that there's a new understanding of why these things happen so that these children are not so mistreated. We spent another day at another school that is an inclusion school where it is ministry led, where they pray and they study and they meet the needs of the mothers, and they bring in a clinical psychologist to help the mothers with the kids, to give them skills. We just walked in the room. It was just so full of prayer. It was so full of passion for the Lord. And these mothers were all sitting on the floor with their children. It was the birthdays for those kids for that quarter. We had a cake for them. We sang to them. We celebrated with them. It was a beautiful experience that we were truly blessed. We got to introduce ourselves and get to know the mothers and encourage them. Some of them spoke, some of them prayed. It was just a beautiful, beautiful experience. And then we finally went out to the property on day 3, out along the Nile, out in the bush. And we were talking with some of the people there. They had never seen white people before. And they were very encouraged. The village elders basically held a meeting, a formal meeting between us and the village about the plan for the school, where it was going to be, what it was going to do. They were very encouraging and blessing us. It was just a wonderful experience full of just generous hospitality. We got to hand out supplies for the children, pads of paper and pencils, crayons, clothing for man, women, and child. It was really a beautiful experience to watch these children just light up with excitement over receiving these things that they've never had in their entire life. One of the children, Livingston, had some severe abdominal pain going on, and so we paid to get him scanned and checked out. And then we got to pay for a procedure for him that we have boots on the ground there who were able to go and take him to medical appointments and verify everything and make sure he gets the treatment that he needs. So Livingston is doing phenomenally well now. He's feeling so much better and has recovered now from his surgery. Now on the 4th and 5th day, I got to lead a pastor training for 600 plus Ugandan ministers. I was teaching in simple, reproducible disciple making. This teaching was going out live on Facebook. It was also going out live in Jinja to an area of about 9 million people in the listening audience. It was just a phenomenal experience with some amazing translators as we worked through this material for just close to a day and a half. We also had some teaching with our specialists on special needs training for pastors so they could understand how to better care for these children and families within their churches. We had a kind of a funny moment within translation where one of our team members, his name's Hope, and we learned that in Lugandan, that hope is the word subi. And so I'm teaching this simple reproducible discipling, and I use the word hope. And the translator standing next to me says, "Come again, what'd you say?" And I said, "Hope, subi." And he looked at me like I had lost my mind. Like, Lugandan? Are you kidding me? You've been holding out on me the whole time. We kind of had a good laugh. It's like the only word that I knew. But the training went phenomenally well. Some of you gave money toward feeding the people who came. That was put to good use. Day 2, I woke up for the training feeling very sick in my stomach, feeling kind of feverish, feeling kind of weak. Didn't know how I was going to make it through the day. I decided to do as much teaching as possible. When we got to a part on how to share your testimony, we had a friend there named Ali, who is a former Muslim who grew up, who had a grandfather who was a witch doctor, and he grew up as an usher into the witch doctor ceremonies, and he would see all these things taking place of cutting and bones and blood and animals and things being all mixed together. And he had a severe alcohol problem, and he shared his testimony about how witchcraft didn't solve his problem, about how Islam, his faith within Islam, didn't solve his problem. It wasn't until he turned his life over to Jesus that he got his alcoholism under control, and that God had released him from that. Well, this testimony is going out to an area of 9 million people, and so the phone calls start coming in to hear more people who are struggling with alcohol addiction, who are looking for hope, and who are looking for Subi, looking for a way through that. And so God even used that weakness to bring about an amazing moment to testify to God's goodness in a way that people could reach back out to our speaker, to Ali, who was speaking and teaching on sharing testimony. It was just a powerful thing. And so I got to about 11:30, and I just thought, I don't know how I'm going to make it to 4. This is going to be an impossible task. I have no energy. I'm feeling horrible, feeling feverish. I hope I'm not getting anybody sick. And miracle of all miracles, there is no schedule posted. I've been informed of no schedule other than just go from like 10 to 4 every day. And one of our teammates comes up to the side of the stage, and he says, hey, you need to see this. And I walked over while I was teaching, and he showed me a printed schedule, Miracle of Miracles, and it said, I'm done at noon. You need to stop at noon. There are more people to talk this afternoon. I couldn't believe it. There had been no such thing as a printed schedule. I don't know where it came from. I don't know where he got it. And so I taught for 30 more minutes, finished out my material, and sat down completely spent, feeling pretty bad. So God was really looking out for us, because there is no schedule with an event like that. Like, I have no idea where that came from other than God just gave it to us. And so we went back to the apartment that Friday, and Missy and the boys were not feeling well at all. They were running really high fevers, stomach problems. I was having stomach problems and fever. And so we finally got to a bad enough point that we went into the Ugandan ER, got checked out. So a couple of us had low blood pressure, needed like 4 bags of fluid, tested for everything basically but COVID, found out we had salmonella, and so got some antibiotics for that, got sent back to the apartment. And by that's on 2 Fridays ago, by the next day, we were able to go to the market and buy some things to bring back home to some friends, and to be able to take some extra rest time that Saturday, because we're going to fly out basically just after midnight that next morning. I believe we also spent some time in training Ugandan educators in special needs. So we have a team of people who came with us who were specialists in special needs children, or children with special needs, I should say, and they came and educated at the university on this. It was very well received. It was a full day of training, very encouraged. They want to bring us back and do this again, maybe with some theological component. Just an amazing experience at Uganda Christian University. Jonah, who runs track and cross country, got to race one of our Ugandan friends there on the quarter-mile dirt track. It was a wonderful experience. Jonah got second out of 3 people running, and we had a really good time. When we got on the plane, we were not feeling well. We had 20-something hours of coming back. We were coughing on the plane. We figured that we had just been on so many dusty roads with windows down that we had this nasty cough. We got home and decided to test for COVID, and sure enough, all 4 of us were COVID positive. So we're now on day 10 of that, recovering still. I'm kind of the last holdout here who's still testing positive and still not feeling 100%, but very close. Just want to thank you for all your prayers and support. I want to thank everybody who gave money toward this mission. I'm going to put a link in the description if you want to learn more about Promise International and how to give and support that Ugandan mission. We're going to keep going back. We're going to keep educating. We're going to build this school, and we're going to see this through to the end. We're going to keep training pastors. We're going to train them in leadership and simple disciple making to be able to help continue to impact the world with the gospel of Christ, continue to pray for the people there. They're going through very hard times and need our prayers. Thanks so much for watching this, and I really hope you'll check out the link to Promise. God bless, and I look forward to making some more videos as we're back and starting to feel better. So take care and see you soon.